5-point lead. Now they're up 4, so he didn't lose much with LeBron out. Now he's fresh to go the rest of the game.
Oh my! How about that from Chris Johnson, the second-year pro from Dayton, making his Celtics debut and coming up with a big play for them.
The University of Dayton has enjoyed a long tradition of former Flyers in the NBA. Their impact on the game is unprecedentedly filled with former NBA All-Stars, Rookies of the Year, executives, and coaches. One of the premier power players in the NBA is former Flyer Jim Paxson.
I'm Jim Paxson, a Dayton graduate of 1979. Played for the Flyers for 4 years, and I've been in the NBA as a player and working for the NBA for the last 35 years since I've been out. So I'm currently with the Chicago Bulls, and I'm Director of Basketball Operations. It's a fancy title, but I primarily do pro personnel scouting, which really gears us up for trades, free agency, and and minor league basketball. So pretty well-rounded job. Don't do a lot of college scouting at this point in my career, but still watch a lot of college games, especially the Flyers.
Paxson is one of 19 former Flyers that have played in the NBA. It's a lineage that dates back to the early 1950s and continues on into the present.
Well, what I can tell you is I was recruited by Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio State, and I wanted to stay in Dayton for a couple of reasons. The main reason was that I knew that I was going to get the opportunity to play in front of 13,000 fans every night. I thought that it would be my best chance at that time to play as a freshman and grow as a player, and my dream was to be an NBA player, which was able to happen. And just the community itself, it's such a great community that that's a place that so many players from the era of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s and on, players have stayed there after they're done. So it says a lot about the community as well as the program.
Recently, the Flyers have had 3 alumni make it big. Brian Roberts, Chris Wright, and Chris Johnson have continued the storied tradition of Flyers playing at the next level.
Well, I think it's important, but I also think you have to look at how they've gotten there. Brian Roberts went to Europe. He didn't first get there on his first go-around, and he worked on his game, developed his game, and New Orleans kind of plucked him in as a minimum player in our league. But Chris Johnson, he's done a nice job. Personally, I didn't see maybe the growth in his 4 years at Dayton. Senior year, I thought he was an NBA talent when I first saw him as a freshman. And I think that the 1 year that he had there with Coach Miller and the staff, and then moving forward, that I think he's kept working on his game. And Chris Wright is a great example. He was an athlete that was trying to learn to be a basketball player, and he's stuck in the D-League, and he's still trying to develop, and Milwaukee's giving him a chance, and I wish him the best.
The current Dayton staff continues preparing players for the next level, led by head coach Archie Miller. Miller separates himself from other coaches with the relationship he has with his players. He teaches how to be a professional and how to understand the mental aspects of the game.
If we're doing it right, we have guys in the ballpark being able to not only play in the NBA, but make a living playing the game for a long time. Nowadays, every kid, regardless of where they go, believes they should be doing that. So I'm not one to stand in anyone's way. To me, if a kid says he wants to play in the NBA, it's my job to help him get there. Providing a way for guys to earn a living playing this game is the dream. So for us, can we have an environment? Do we have the ability to provide that opportunity? Absolutely. It all comes down at the end of the day, though, winning. And I think the more you win, the more individual accolades, the more individual success guys will have. And that's what instills the great programs, the programs that are about the right things. They're about winning. And guys that are about winning usually experience some great individual success as well.
With the recent Elite Eight run, the national attention is at an all-time high for Dayton basketball. Miller's focus on player development and building a program the right way has caught the attention of college basketball's premier analysts.
He lives it. His family lives it. He's been in a lot of different places. He's worked with different guys. When you work with someone like Herb Sendek, and then you work with someone like Thad Matta and Darren Horn. He's had a lot of different experiences. His brother, obviously. So he was born to do this. There's no question. And that to me is why Dayton is what it is, because it's the recognition of hiring somebody who's never been a head coach before, but is clearly ready for the job and wants to go into the job and wants to attack it with abandon. And that's what Archie's done. He brings a lot of youthful energy and vigor to the program. He packs a lot of energy and toughness into a very small package.
And the future continues to be bright. Coach Miller and his staff place an emphasis on giving players their best opportunity to play, competing against the best, and allowing them to flourish in an unbelievable basketball environment each and every night.
My brother John, who has been part of the organization, played here a long time, and when he first took over in 2003, his big thing was taking players from winning programs, because they've won and they know how to win, and they've been in big game situations, and they know what it's like to be pushed, and they understand that pressure. Sometimes some of these young kids come out a little bit, even if they're on winning teams, they come out too soon. And we've just been more, not that we haven't taken younger players with so-called potential, but we have looked at players having a little more experience than going that way, feeling that they can come into our program and our organization and contribute sooner than later. But winning's huge. If you haven't had any, it's kind of like when you see NBA teams now that have lost 2 or 3 years in a row. Players, they learn how to win, but they also learn how to lose. And so I think that's part of the reason why you see in our draft why players in winning programs get drafted higher, because it's valued. We value that as we look at players.
When you're about making guys better, the very first thing you do is you really try to invest in them. And you're going to have to give a lot more of yourself and your staff and the time and the ability to communicate before they start to give back. And I think we worked very hard early on that. I think that our kids know that through the bad times that we're still there with them. And I think that's a program that's really about the right things. And as we keep moving forward, it's going to become part of what we do. I think as our guys get older, they trust, they sell our way of life to our younger kids, and it kind of circles back around all the time. The development and being about getting better and winning and our culture and what we have here is really just about relationships, having the ability to look each other in the eye and tell us the truth, and to me, sell a unique way of life, which is about earning it. And I think that we have that going for us right now.